Hey everyone, how's it going? Coming to y'all with yet another knife comparison. Don't know if y'all like these yet, but filming them anyways, putting them up, maybe someone will find it useful. Today we're going to talk about the Sanrenmu Land Model 911, and throw the 910 in there because it's the same exact knife, just a slightly different handle, versus the GTKII GTK24, or GTKI24 as I'm going to call it. Why am I filming these two knives as a comparison? Well, very simple. They are the same in overall design, they are the same overall price point, and they are similar in quality, and I thought, you know what? Why not show them off next to each other? Because they will pop up as possible EDC choices for your dollar, and you may want to know which of the two is better, not only as an everyday carry knife, but as a poor man's Sebenza. So, I plan to make a whole video about poor man's Sebenzas, like a guide to different knives you can pick up for that role. Both of these will be in it, but for the comparison here, I still think it's apt to bring up a few points. So let's go ahead and start with the Sanrenmu Land Model 911. We have a 3.4 inch blade that is highly flat ground, made out of 12C27 steel. Okay, and on the GTKII Model 24, we have a 3.4 inch blade that is hollow ground, made out of Chinese D2, and I do believe it is real D2 based on testing. So, which of these two has the better blade? Well, you can see this one has that black stone-washed finish versus this one has a satin. Okay, you can get this in a frame lock with a black wash finish, but if you want the G10 handle scales, you are working with a satin finished blade. Does that matter? Well, not really, and the reason I say that is because 12C27 is already highly rust resistant, whereas the D2 is not. So this needs the black blade. This is perfectly fine as a satin blade. Which one's more attractive to you? You have to answer that. I can't possibly say. What I can say is that this holds an edge better than this does. This holds an edge pretty well for the price point. This does hold an edge better. They both take a super fine edge. This takes a slightly finer edge. This is a bit easier to sharpen and is highly rust resistant. So, which is the better steel? Again, it really depends on the individual. For me, I prefer the 12C27. I live in a very high humidity environment, so I need a blade that is less likely to rust on me, personally. I do oil my blades, and I do take care of them, so this D2 isn't likely to rust out on me either. However, this will require more maintenance for me personally. However, maybe you live in a low humidity environment, or you use your knives a lot harder every day. So to you, the D2 is a strict upgrade over 12C27. It really comes down to personal preference. In terms of slicing, they are both equally good slicers. That may shock some folks because they believe that flat ground blades are supreme over hollow ground blades. It's just not true. It's just not true. This cuts through cardboard like butter. So does this. They have equal slicing performance in my testing of both knives, breaking down several cardboard boxes. So I'm going to say the blades are actually equal in my mind. Same length, different steels that are going to have different strengths and different weaknesses depending on who you are. Same overall slicing potential. They're dead even in this category. Okay, they both have 4.5 inch G10 handles. See the texture pattern on both of these side by side. This is a finer texture pattern. This is that wider or rougher texture pattern akin to what you see on cold steel knives. Now that said, the black G10 handle version of this is the same fine pattern as the GTKII here. In terms of traction, they both provide pretty good traction. This is going to hold up better. The Land 911's wider, broader pattern does wear better over time than the GTKII's finer pattern. So I think this has the more tractionable G10. Keep in mind that only refers to the 911. If you buy the 910, it's the exact same situation. Okay? They are both liner locks. You can see the lock engagement on both of these. The liners on the GTKII are thicker, and therefore are likely stronger than the Sanrenmu. Additionally, we have this CRKT locks type system which we can engage, and then that brings in a little metal tab to secure that liner in the open and locked position. So for overall strength, I do think this has the stronger lock. However, this has a jimped liner, which is just a dream to disengage. Super easy to get your thumb on there, very comfortable to disengage. This has no jimping on the liner. And while it's still easy to disengage, it isn't quite as comfortable to disengage as the Sanrenmu. So again, pick your poison. Do you want the thicker, stronger liners with the lock system, or the smoother, easier to disengage liner lock that's a little bit more comfortable? At the end of the day, a lot of this is going to come down to personal preference. I like this a little bit better, but you may prefer the strength that this offers, especially if you are using your knife very hard day in, day out. This is almost like a harder used version of the same knife, honestly, because you do have a harder steel and a slightly more secure locking system. In terms of weight, Amazon advertises them both at 4.7 ounces. I'm going to say that's accurate for the Sanrenmu, not accurate for the GTK here. I haven't weighed them myself, however, this does feel right around that ballpark. This feels a little bit heavier. Okay, this feels about closer to 5 ounces, maybe all the way up to 5.2, because these thick stainless steel liners are barely milled out. See a couple lightning holes there, lightning hole there, not very much at all, as compared to the Sanrenmu. Heavy milling of those stainless steel liners. So this is a bit lighter, and I can tell you that in hand it feels a bit lighter. So weight-wise, I do prefer the Sanrenmu, though the extra few couple ounces are not a huge issue. Or the extra, not even extra ounces, just, 0.3 to 0.5 ounce difference. Okay, deployment, they both come out smooth and lock up super solid. I will say that. There's no blade play on this GTK. There's no blade play on this Sanrenmu. However, the Sanrenmu rides on a ball-bearing pivot system, which means this thing comes out like glass on glass. This is just so nice. Whereas over here, we're on Teflon. And it's still super smooth, but it doesn't feel as smooth. See, compare that against that. And once you get them in hand, you can really feel the difference. This is smoother in the pivot point than this is. Okay? However, that also comes with a downside to some people. This is more parts that can fail. And when taking the knives apart to maintenance them, this is worse things to lose. This is a little simpler, and probably a little tougher long term. So pick your poison, You want elegance or you want hard use. Centering on the knives. My GTK is perfectly centered. My Sanrenmu, it lists. Definitely comes over to that right-hand side a little bit. Not a huge deal, however, it's worth noting. Some people will say that means this is going to have the overall better fit and finish. I don't think that's accurate. I just think it's a thing that we want to be conscious of. Both have tip-up carry clips, positionable to the left and right-hand sides of the knives. No tip-down carry option, which is, I guess, sad for the people who enjoy tip-down, but honestly, this is the preferred carry method for me. I'll show you how both of them ride on the pocket side by side. So here is the GTK with its large Benchmade style clip, and here is the Land with its smaller Sebenza style clip. And you can see the Sanrenmu does ride lower in pocket, about twice as low in the pocket as the GTK. I like having a bit of knife out of the pocket to grab onto, but the Sanrenmu gives me that already. So I'm going to say I prefer the Sanrenmu's pocket clip over the GTK's pocket clip personally. But again, there's different aspects to consider. This is secured with 1 screw. Okay, this is secured with 3 screws. So long term, this may be more stable than this, less prone to loosening up. Just different things to consider. End of the day, we're looking at the same price point. $23 on the Land, about 22 to 23, about 24 to 25 on the GTK. I'm going to say that's the same price point, honestly. If you're spending 23 on a knife, you'll spend 25 on a knife. And I've never known anyone's allowance to be $23. Usually you're getting $10, $20, $25. So if you're a younger kid and you're having to choose between the two knives, you can probably afford either one. What it comes down to is, what do you use your knives for, and where do you live? If you're living in Northeast Texas, if you're living in Louisiana, you're living in Florida, you're living in any of these high humidity environments, then the Land Model 911 with that Sandvik 12C27 is probably the way to go. It is just so rust resistant. Whereas this D2 will absolutely rust on you if you are not careful. If you're living in a low humidity environment, not a problem. Okay? If you're using a knife super hard day in, day out, the GTK is the sturdier knife. It's the tougher knife. Okay? That D2 steel, that LOX type system, those thicker stainless steel liners. This is, in my opinion, a more heavy-duty knife than the Land. But if you're doing what most of us are doing with your knives, you know, opening up packages, food preparation, both in the kitchen and on the plate, you know, cutting some strings off of people's shirts, or cutting price tags off of clothing you just bought from Walmart, honestly, either one's going to fill that role perfectly fine. So what are you using your knives for? That's going to be one of the big things. It all comes down to what you need out of a knife. I can't say one of these is definitively better than the other. I think this has slightly better fit and finish overall compared to this, but it's not a huge amount. If I had to pick between the two knives, I like the Land a little bit better. But you may very well prefer the GTK. This is not me here to tell you which one is the better knife. It's me showing them side by side and talking about their strengths and weaknesses to help you determine which one is the better knife for you and for your money. And hopefully, I've done that for you. You know, hopefully seeing these two side by side, hearing their strengths and weaknesses has helped you decide which of the two knives you want. If you can afford both, buy both. Honestly, I have both. I love having both. I like to put both of them into my EDC rotation. So, if money is no issue, buy them both. If money is an issue, pick the one based on everything you've heard that better fits your own system. So, I hope the video was informative. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Stick around for more knife reviews, more knife comparisons, and random things to come from my channel that I'm trying to get back on the ground. So, until next time, I'll see you later.